3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
We're back on the Saving Humanity podcast, and I've got an awesome group of people, number one, and also just a very interesting show that is going to offer value, and it's something that I wanted. I asked everyone here to be here, and so it's going to be a beautiful thing, and we're excited to have you here. Thank you.
Having us.
We're excited to be here.
Yeah.
Always excited.
I've got now Gabriel. Well, why don't everybody introduce themselves? You can go.
Well, hi, I'm Reese.
Reese.
Or Jaden, whatever you want to call.
Oh, I'm Gabriel. Gabriel Slatton, chilling out.
I got a crazy intro. You know why we're here? It's Zest of the best. You know the rest. It's your boy, the man, the brand, the King of Lemonade Stand live from Podcast Land, baby. Manny Lemons.
I like that.
Zesty.
Thank you.
Zest
Thank
the
you.
best.
Thank
There we
you.
go.
Thank you. And I did my best to sort of come up with a few things here that just as you. So the first generic question. So how did the partnership with Platinum Toys come together for you guys? And if you want to just talk about that, even just for 90 seconds. And
Do you want to go first on that?
Well, I knew this one since he barely even started the brand. He was working at another toy store that was just kind of, it was cool, but just meh lately. And I met him, and like he shined, he was fun. So I was like, you know what? Cool. And then after years, we just got closer, and he's like a second dad to me. So
That's very true. Yeah, and she's come into this world. Basically, it was our basically she's like our godchild. We love her to death. But our adopted son, Philip, wanted to get into wrestling. And he actually reached out to a company called DCW. I had heard of DCW prior to that through a gentleman named Jonathan King. And I would go watch them when they were at FanX, and I'd be like, these guys are amazing. And I kept convincing Philip, I'm like, just go train with them. So he became a little bit closer to a gentleman named Mike and this man right here and another one named Sowell. And so we kind of got him involved with it that way. And then I kind of fell in love with the brand. I mean, look at this man. I mean, look at him. I mean, he's dreamy. And so I just loved it, though. I loved everything he was trying to build as a true training facility for wrestling, sports entertainment, bringing at-risk youth or just people. It didn't matter if they were, 10 or if they were like 50. If they had a dream of wrestling, this dude wanted to bring them into that and educate them on what that was all about. And I really loved that. And I kind of jumped on with that because it was kind of a similar message to what my store was bringing when it came to that kind of light and the cool kid table for everybody, so to speak.
right.
So does that make sense? I'm pretty sure
No,
that was kind of how
that
I
was the
definitely got
question.
involved.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was the question I had, is just sort of how that came along. And I know you do a lot and to help kids, and I've got questions for you just even right here. But before we do that, what's one misconception people have about wrestlers that you want to clear up right now? Before we do anything, what's one misconception about wrestlers people have? This was on my mind as a
The
question.
biggest thing is the F word, fake. Wrestling being fake.
Okay.
Everyone miscues that. I think the biggest thing is like it's scripted combat. We're out there to tell stories, The problem with this is that when UFC came in after the Attitude Era in the 90s, it became real fighting, so everyone started gravitating towards that and away from wrestling because wrestling's all about charisma. It's all about characters. It's all about the storytelling.
Got it.
And the thing is like, yes, we are in there fighting, taking the falls, and everything we do is real, but the overall story is predetermined.
Yes.
So that's saying the word fake, I think, is very irritating because here I am, 33 years old, and walk around with a limp. You know what I mean? So
Right. No, I understand.
we all have limps.
Oh,
I'm 18. I have a limp.
Yeah.
well, those hits are real half the time. I would say all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean,
There's
I watch
some
it and I hear it. Oh, yeah. It's like, oh.
You can't fake falling down. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that's the biggest thing is everyone comes in. There's so many people that come in from like the podcast world or entertainment world. They come in, they're like, I can do this. And
Right.
you're like, take them up. I won't have a conversation with a student until I know they can take a bump.
Right.
Because then that way, because there's so many people, I'm going to be the next Hulk Hogan.
Right.
Well, can you take a bump first and then
Right.
we'll start working,
Right.
And that's not a dig at anyone. It's just the fact that like, it's the hardest thing I've ever done. And my background is sports.
Yeah.
I was an all-state wide receiver at Currents for football,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I walked in there with the same mentality. I'm going to go in here and dominate. took my first bump, landed on my head. Is oh crap, this thing's harder than it looks.
I can relate. Even like if you've ever done any like jiu-jitsu or anything,
Yeah.
it's such a humbling experience. Like when
100%.
like a 60-year-old man like literally like demasculates you
Yep.
within like 20 seconds. And that's not an exaggeration. And you're like, okay, you just hope nobody saw it.
Yep.
And so I can understand what you're speaking of. And I've never wrestled, but I can relate to that mindset, and
100%.
and people, it's and wrestling too. You can tell me if I'm, but it's one of those things where it's such a path to mastery. It's all about the reps. It's you don't do it till you get it right. You do it till you can't get it wrong.
Yep.
And it's such a beautiful thing. But it's that mindset that you have to have, like you said, at a sport where you're really just you're taking a path to mastery. You're trying to get those 10,000 hours.
Yep.
And also, I mean, it is the attention to detail. It's doing it over and over and over again, so your brain doesn't have to think about it, and then you're just flowing, And
That's 100% it.
so, yeah.
Repetition's everything. That's what I preach to my students. It's
Yes.
it becomes habit at that point when you can do it and you don't have to think about it. Like a lot of the way I train my students is on the fly because the most uncomfortable thing is being uncomfortable. So when you step out there and don't know what you're doing, that's the scariest thing. And that's
Right.
when you break that habit, that's when you start to progress and get better. That makes sense.
Yes, it's like, so I was a football. I was a football coach for a long time. Lived all around the country, worked in college football, and then I did evaluating and scouting. And it's the same thing. Like the elite players, the elite players, there's going to be things that happen that you can't necessarily prepare for. Whether it's a scheme, whether it's a technique you see, and the elite guys, the Trent Williams, the all pro NFL, they're smart enough football players. And say you've played ball, and you guys know, like they can make it work. Not everything's going to be how you practice, and there's something to that. There's something to that in life too. I think just like being able to think on your feet. When I asked the question, I was talking to you guys, and you did an awesome job explaining your connection. And you, sir, with the IQ, I know you have like a 170 IQ. You just immediately knew exactly what to do, and you just took it and you just made it work. Yep. And that's the way it is. Like you came here with the podcast. I've got these questions, but guess what? The questions. Maybe there's a moment where you have to sort of ad lib and you have to sort of
Just let it flow.
have your brain work too, and a performer of any sort has the ability to do that. And so, what do you hope folks get from this? As far as the story, as far as what's your hope people take away?
I think the biggest thing for me is just educating on what we are. Because like I said, it's like there's so like I guarantee you with the state of Utah, I would say maybe 1% of the population actually knows that wrestling exists inside the state. And it's really trying to teach, like if we can create someone who's never seen it or has never been to a wrestling show and we can convince them to be a fan, then I think we've done our job as professionals to do that. Because we can sit there and recycle like old Utah wrestling fans, but if we're not growing the community and creating the word of mouth,
right?
Then what are we doing this anyways? My goal was always with this thing is to leave it better than I found it. Mm-hmm. The only way to do that is to grow it, build it, and succeed at it.
I see longevity. For me, it's longevity as in like generational, right? So people ask me like, what are you trying to get out of this wrestling thing that you're involved with your store? And I always tell them it's longevity. Like I said, the cool kid table for everybody.
Yes.
Like I see, there's the WWE has NXT, right? Where they train at Full Sail, but it's not just the wrestlers you're training. Because I work in film. So for those who don't know, I work in film at a pretty high level and music.
Yeah.
And then I own a store called Platinum Toys. But visual is what I get out of the wrestling thing. It's the personas, it's the storyline, it's the costumes. And reality of there's the fighters in the ring, and then there's hundreds of people behind the scenes that are a production company, essentially. Right. And that's what I see this turning into.
Yes.
Is this beautiful production company where the guys on the camera are learning, right? And then they become pro, and it becomes this amazing event.
Yeah.
Where worldwide people are talking about this brand. That's what I see,
Yep.
right? The store and everything that I have, it all plays into that because my store is a gallery of nostalgia, right?
Yep.
And that's kind of what wrestling is. It's this nostalgic moment people get to remember. I remember my dad taking me to go see Hulk Hogan at Selland Arena in Fresno, California in like the late 80s, early 90s, And those are memories that I'll always have and never, ever forget. So I don't know, like that's what I want to see this brand become. Anybody can go and pay for a facility and pay for talent to come into town. But that's just the cheap and lazy way out. We want to build the foundation. And here we are 7 years in, and it's like I've been there for this will be my third anniversary with them, I think it is.
Yeah.
And holy crap, it's amazing to see what it's
That's
become.
wild to say 3 already.
Yeah, it's insane. It's
They-
insane, you know. And I've seen guys come and go. I've seen people take major hits. I've seen them come and go, including my own son.
Yeah.
Now he's off in Iowa doing his thing and training,
Right.
but
Right.
he
Still
even
kinda
he was kind of like,
Yeah.
Right.
okay, I need a break for a little while, and I knew
Right.
that's what it was. He
Right.
admitted to me, and so it's okay because he's back and he's training and he's good,
Yeah.
but it's not for anybody.
Right.
That's the reality of
Yeah.
it. Because
Yeah.
these dudes, 20 miles an hour, when you think about the speed, 15 to 20 miles an hour is a reality of how fast they're going.
Yeah.
And then they smack each other without football pads.
Yep.
Sowell is like this guy who's like 200 something, maybe close to approaching maybe 3.
Say 3 more.
But that dude is fast. I would never try to outrun him. I swear he would catch me and whip my ass. No, he's scary.
I agree. So, you know,
Fast.
obviously having a football background, it's like there are sports that are context, like basketball is a contact sport, but football, wrestling, it's a collision sport.
Yep.
Like that's the big. I think folks, that's an underrated part of it. Is like contact sports, basketball. You play soccer, dude. A collision sport is football or wrestling.
Yeah.
You know, that's a different element of what you're trying to do. And
All depends on what kind of soccer you're playing.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
I digress.
Oh yeah, and soccer. Yeah, for all the anti-football people, there's actually more concussions in soccer. So, but
Giant soccer balls getting kicked.
there hasn't been as much there hasn't been as much money for lawyers to go after in soccer as there has been in football. But anyway,
That's funny.
That's true.
Uh,
But it's like to
unfortunately.
piggyback on what Gabe was saying. Like sometimes people just need breaks. Like this is the only industry where it's really constant. It's 552 weeks a year. You know, I'm a wrestler every single day.
Yeah.
And it's like it does get tiring. Sometimes you do have to revamp, remotivate to do that. And that's a
Right.
hard thing is because it's like football, there's an off season. Basketball, there's an
Right.
off season.
Right.
There's no off season in
No.
wrestling. It's
Right.
nonstop. It's consistent.
Yeah, that's
hard.
amazing. That just knowing, just being in football like that is amazing.
Yeah.
Because even like because the off season, yeah, you lift and run or you do stuff without pads, but you're not hitting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you're not running into people. You're letting your body. I've always said this about football too, and tell me if you can relate to this. If you get hit enough, your bones like harden. You like bruise, but there's something about our body that's so unbelievable that like literally, when we get hit enough, our body does like adjust to it, and like you learn how to. Your body bruises better. Could you elaborate? Because you guys are in this business,
You're
but
1,000% right. It's like when you take these falls, you develop a calyx across your back where it's like your impact. It's like I could take a bump on this floor. I'm not going to, but I could take
Right.
a bump on this floor right
Right.
now, and I
Right.
would just get back up because
Right.
it's just so natural at this
Right.
point in time.
Right.
But it's like over time, it's like it does start to wear on your body. Usually, a shelf life. You know, if you think back in the Rock, his shelf life was really only 3 years. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like your shelf life isn't that long.
Right.
So these people who outlast, like Cena, he's retiring this weekend. Like that's what 25 years of constantly beating up his body, and that's like he wants to go out on top versus being
Right.
this dwindled old
right.
guy, and I
Right.
respect that.
And good luck seeing him ever stand up straight.
Yep.
Because he
know.
can't anymore.
I
He
know.
physically can't. And it's like that just came out where he's walking all hunched back all the time because of that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, no thank you. No, and those chairs are metal.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
promise you that.
I've always wondered that. If you guys have ever wondered about the chairs, when I was like 8 years old, when I'm watching the wrestling, I'm like, man, is that a real chair? Could you
Real
just
chair,
tell us about the
real
chairs?
table.
Just very briefly,
Real
can you tell us the secret to the chairs?
Yeah, there's no secret. You just be a man and take it. You
Okay.
know?
Yep.
All right. So the chairs are real.
And the tables and,
And-
everything.
Because like when I was with WrestleMania, 18 or 19, when it's the tables, ladders, and chairs.
Yep.
Between the Dudley Boys and Scotty Too Hotty and Edge and Christian, and they're out there hitting each
Scotty
other,
Too Hotty.
and they're out there. The chairs are real.
Yeah.
And the guys are getting hit, and people are flying through tables.
If you don't believe it, just come the weekend of the 13th at the 7th anniversary. This is the first plug of the night.
right.
7th
I love it.
anniversary show.
Yes.
It'll be literally at the Masonic Temple, and you will see real chairs for
yeah.
sure.
Yes.
If you want to fill them, well, we can make that happen too.
That's awesome.
It's funny.
So
Just
that's
say-
awesome.
You
I love
got
that.
me and Tommy in a hardcore match. So there's gonna be
Yes.
chairs,
Let's go.
levels,
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
tables, all sorts of things. So
We'll
It's
plug that
funny.
again. Don't
I'm
worry.
not
Yeah,
even,
yeah, we'll
like,
plug it again.
I'm not a wrestler. I've barely played football, sports, or any of that. But I'm an artist, and my hands. Oh, don't get me started on how many blisters, cuts.
Right.
I've literally had needles go through some of my fingers sometimes, and I'm just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You just get used to it.
Yep.
Like, it's not even just fully about wrestling or like being
life.
active. It's just life.
Pushing through.
Your fingers get used to it. Like, your fingers get rougher. Like, it's just, yeah, it's funny.
What's the biggest, I guess, lesson wrestling has taught you about discipline, your mindset, just not, what's something I mean, there's probably many things, but what's a couple things you can share that like you've really honed in on, even lately that you've,
It's the like I said, my background being in sports. I really wish that everyone coming up in the business really had a sports background, because it is the same thing. It teaches you wrestling, just like football teaches you discipline, teaches you commitment, dedication. Like you have to eat right all the time.
Yep.
You have to have good gear. You have to always look the best. Like
Yep.
if I'm a superstar, I have to look like a superstar. I can't just act like it and
Right.
just show up in whatever I want.
Right.
But I'd say that's probably the biggest lesson, is just like those types of things, because it's like you are committed to go to training. You are committed to stay on your diet. You are committed to show up to shows. Like I travel every weekend somewhere. I'm wrestling everywhere all over this country.
Yeah.
Literally was just in Atlanta last week and
Yes.
San Diego the day after. You know what
Yes.
I mean? So it's like coast to coast all
Yes.
the time. So I think it's just that, just staying committed and staying focused and don't ever quit. Because I think the problem is too many people I've seen who had the most talent in the world come into this industry and they quit, and they just because they didn't get what they wanted. You know?
Right. Right.
It's like I'm 13 years in the game and I'm
Right.
still as hungry as I was day
Right.
one, you know?
And I think the beautiful part of life is it's the person you become in the process. Like, it's not even the outcome. Yes, you should have the goal because you have to track it and it gives you something, but it's like, dude, the person you become, you just become so much more ingrained in yourself. It's a beautiful, we are beings who are meant to evolve, and as cliche as it may sound, the person you become in the process of any endeavor that you embark upon really is the beautiful part of life, and it's why we're here. It is the ultimate gift, and I can see that in you, just how you are, and how just even meeting you, you have such great charisma, and I mean, both you guys do, but you can tell when people have really dedicated themselves to something and not given up, they develop like this. Not only this, it's just like this mental knowledge of like, I got this. I'm secure in myself, and it's a beautiful thing to witness.
One of the things that it's funny, I should have said this a minute ago, that I think keeps him and I think getting more and more tight is that the amount of haters we have. He has them and I've got them. We don't even know these people's names, right?
I got them. I don't know
yeah.
any.
It's guilty by affiliation.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it
funny.
literally is these haters that hate us because we simply have a success and we don't care what they think. Our confidence, we walk in a room and there's a difference between arrogance and confidence. I say this all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of one of those things that does, a good friend of mine, his name was Jason David Frank, God rest his soul. He was like an older brother to me. He literally told me, for those who don't know, he was the Green Ranger, Power Ranger, and many
Better
other. He always told me redemption is a powerful, powerful gasoline. And I think that's true. It's like there's a difference between that's not holding a grudge or anything. No, there's redemption's a good thing.
Right.
You want to get that. So if that makes sense, I think
Yes.
it does.
Yes. That's
And
a beautiful.
so I think that's kind of what we deal with, both with the store, with wrestling. It's just these people that, you don't even know their names. You've never seen them. They've never been in the store. They've never been to a wrestling event. But yet for some reation, they hate our guts. And so that fuels me in a way.
Or
It's
they've
literally
been
the
in
gasoline.
store once.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's funny. One time we kindly asked somebody not to drop ice cream on the floor.
The legendary ice cream story.
It's
Just
legendary.
Be careful with it. 1-star review.
Yep.
How dare you tell us not to spill our ice cream?
So I've got a whole page of notes about this, and I've got my first question was, you have a big personality, and have you always had this personality? Were you like this when you were 10 years old, or has this developed over time?
I probably always.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I grew up around a lot of artists and
Yes.
big musicians and whatever. My mom and dad were really kind of hippies, and
Sure.
they knew a lot of people, and my uncle was a drummer, and there were times when I would fall asleep in his bass drum when I was 2-3 years old, when he was playing in bands, all over. And so when I was 4, I sang Jamie's Crying on the largest radio station in Fresno simply because my aunt saw me doing it in a, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the living room or whatever the hell.
I've always
And-
wanted
Like
to
that.
sleep with a drum.
It's comfy. It's like
know.
it's like a heartbeat. And,
It looks comfy.
but I guess, yeah, to be honest, it took me a long time because we all come from there's that insecurity everybody has, right?
Yeah.
No matter how confident someone is
Yep.
or may appear to be, they still have that insecurity. And so it took me a while to realize what I was and who I was, I guess, if that makes sense.
Right.
Because I kind of went to college and I did the whole what you're supposed to do route, right?
Yep.
And I was blessed, had a scholarship, did the music thing, and
Right.
You were
played
mixing
sports and did all that
everything
stuff,
in
and it
college.
was rad, and I was blessed to do it. But it really wasn't until after that I was like, okay. I was literally detailing cars in an exotic car rental place, and I got approached by a very large name in the hip hop world, and that was it. My plan was to go into the FBI, believe it or not. I was going to study criminal justice, and I was like, why? I'm not going to ever make money at music or move the stupid. I'm going to go actually make good $90,000 a year doing whatever, right?
Yeah.
And it was a passion that I thought would be cool.
Yeah.
But lo and behold, it went a different route.
Right.
And I was able to really excel at my art. And, heck, when I was a little kid, one of my best friend's moms used to always make me sing Jackson 5 because I was obsessed with Michael Jackson, still am, and I could sing just like him. And I remember 3 to 5 years old, any gathering, any barbecue, Gabe, you got to do Michael Jackson, do ABC 1, 2, 3. And I was like, oh God, okay, sure, boom,
Yes.
right into it. Yeah. So, to answer your question in a long roundabout,
Yes, I love it. No, I love your energy, and I think people who are grounded in themselves, they also love your energy, biologically. So I love everybody. I'm a spiritual. I'm into the whole thing of everyone's doing the best they can on their journey, and just for me, it makes me happy to love and always positively affect people. Also,
Faith is
though,
definitely a very strong word.
well, I think we can all relate. From a tribal standpoint, if you believe, we can only biologically connect with 200 people. It is physically impossible for us to know or even be. Yeah. So in our DNA, there's also a thing where biologically we cannot connect with everybody. We evolutionarily we cannot be friends with everybody. Not everyone's going to want to date us or have all those things are also and because that's what's kept mankind alive. You're not going to biologically connect with everybody, and some people, whether it's DNA, whether it's just they're at a certain time in their life or their personality, so some people you resonate with, and others everyone's on their journey, and so it's a beautiful thing. And I love your energy, and I know a little bit about him and the stuff he does, and he has such an awesome heart, and I think you're doing great, and thank you for being here. And we're so excited to just help you grow and what you're doing and at Platinum Toys. But also there's so much to talk about, and including, like you said, we're going to talk more about the wrestling here in just a bit. I know I'm from the South, and the way I say wrestling is probably different, but wrestling. We used to watch Monday Night Wrestling. What was a real thing, and when you talk about people, and you work with so many different personalities in music. Okay, so many different personalities. And just in your general life, I think. But how do you protect your own energy when you're working with so many different people, and you're dealing with people that have their own unique vibration and things?
Oh man, music is definitely my thing. Whenever somebody's makes me upset, or I'm gonna punch somebody, I turn on music. I just take a breath. I'm chill. All right.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Thank you.
That's what you have to do.
Yeah.
I escape. I tour with a lot of acts, and I don't drink. So on the road, the way I kind of stay in my own headspace, I guess, is I hate to say it, but I'm there for a job, right? I'm not there to hang out all night till 3 a.m. I'm not there. I'm there for my job. So I go antiquing.
Yeah.
It's how I literally found toys.
Right.
I love to go antiquing, and I feel like it's the closest thing to stepping back in time, right? And I can just kind of lose myself and stay focused on the task at hand. Because if I go, and I hate to say this, a lot of big festivals with huge bands, right? And I barely watched the bands before. And these are some huge bands that people pay a lot of money to see. And I'm like,
right.
I don't really care.
Right.
Because I will get out of my headspace.
Right.
I'm not there to watch them perform. I hate to say that.
You're there for you.
I'm there for me to perform.
Yep.
Right. And that's the job.
Yep.
And so that's kind of what I do a lot. I love getting up early at 5 a.m. and walking in whatever city I'm in. Adventuring in cool cities.
Yes.
Walking around the downtown and
That's fun.
going to different spots. And
yes.
I love it.
It's so crazy, our brain, how we are. When I was in college football, if you want to know who's working in football, so if you go to a college football game, you want to know who's not. It's the people. If you ever want to know who's working it, it's the people who's not having any fun. Because when you're in it, you literally are so paranoid about every little thing and want something to be right. At least football coaches have that sort of mindset, and so. it's different, and yes, you can as you go, you can enjoy yourself and have fun. But there's also, it's so true. I'm just thinking, like, at the higher levels of football I've even worked at, where it's like, if you want to see the guys who are actually, in football, it's the guys who are not having fun. Everybody else, all the fans, even people who are like associated with it, but the coaches are like nervous wrecks. Everybody's on edge, and it's such a different energy, and it's almost a relief. Yes, you enjoy the moment, and then it's just like this upward spiral of everything works toward that moment when you're in the game, you're playing, you're. But at the same time, like, there's almost a relief when it's done, where it's like, okay, let's go see what we can improve upon. Also, though, man, we're just happy that thing, because your body can only take so much cortisol for, like, such high levels. So anyway,
it's true, because even wrestling, like I always say, like wrestling's more of a narcissistic industry, because
Sure.
everyone has egos and everyone thinks they're Hulk Hogan.
Right.
They look like
Right.
Jim Fred down the street.
right,
You know what I'm saying?
right.
But I think the biggest thing is, and I don't know if this just becomes with age or just being like a young father, it's just you really want to take advice from someone who's not doing what you're trying to do. So you try to cancel out their opinion and not really worry
So
about what you're
good.
doing. But it's hard
So
though,
good.
because
Yeah.
you see things online, you want to say something, you want to do this, you want to do that. But I think I found my peace of always resorting to my why, and my kid has been like, I'm a full-time dad, so like he's always with me. So like whenever
Right.
I'm down and out, I realize, why am I doing this? Okay, it's
Yes.
to prove to you, kid, you can go out and accomplish your
Yes.
dreams. If I quit now, then I failed at that mission.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So it's just canceling out the haters, and like I said, wrestling's hard because it's year round, but it's like you just try to find different things to keep your mind occupied.
Yes.
Don't worry about the critics.
And you kind of worry about your school is all about, you're building the school, but you also have you're starting to build this foundation of people that can help do that.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you're still trying to become Manny Lemons, which, I mean, you are Manny Lemons, but you're trying to become at that big level, bigger than you've already gotten, which he's gotten at a bigger level than most people dream.
Sure,
of.
sure.
Fact.
Yeah,
Fact.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But, we all have those stars in our eyes,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so I rarely see him out watching other matches.
Right, right.
He's in the back focusing on him or
Yes,
whatever, right?
yes.
Which I think I love that.
It's how to do it.
I
It's-
totally
yeah.
relate to that. Like, I love what Prince once said. It's like, I love Prince. Prince is literally a music god.
Mm-hmm.
And like, he literally, I love it when he was asked one day in an interview, or I don't know what magazine it was, but what do you think of like Justin Bieber and these new artists? And he goes, who's that? I don't, what?
Yeah.
He goes,
Yes.
I have no time to listen to new
Yes.
artists when I'm trying to make my art.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I
Yes.
loved that. And that may sound arrogant. That may sound like, oh, that's so arrogant. No, it's not. It's truth.
It's so vital.
You
And
get lost in all that.
you totally do, and going to touch on that, and then also when you talked about your son. First of all, I hope you have more children, because our birth rate's low in America.
I don't think I will.
But yes. But also though, when you said about your son and you're modeling for him, there's an expression, you've probably heard this: what you do speaks so loudly, I can't hear what you say. So you can say whatever you want to, but it's really what you do.
Yeah.
And especially for kids but I'm glad that you're mindful of that, and I think it's a beautiful thing. And yeah, it's awesome that this is what I love about the Saving Humanity podcast. The whole intent of this is to have people who've undergone something, who've undergone a challenge, who have evolved themselves. Then they share what they learned in their journey, and then whether you watch the whole episode or we cut it up in 20-second clips, some of these clips have got 10, 15,000 views because it's people like you who have gone on your journey, and like all the fat had been cut away. I don't know what I'm doing with my hands right now, but as you travel through space and time,
Yeah.
you get lean. You cut the fat away, the excess, and it's a beautiful thing. And again, it comes back to that. The person you become in the process is why we're here. Full alchemist Paulo Coelho. But we have so much to talk about, and there was so much I wanted to talk about, and so many questions, and I try to pick the best. You talked about music, and he's a phenomenal producer, and been in the music industry. Has a there's so much value.
He did his homework.
Yes, sir. And what do you think I asked him, and I got a lot of music topics here, but what's the biggest misconception people have about music producers and the world of music? Because I feel like, because I know when football, you played ball, but like when you work in football, and like when you talked about, so I did evaluating and scouting. I traveled across the country. I worked for NFL general managers. I ended up doing a internship with the Washington Redskins because of my scouting and evaluating for Bruce Allen, who was their general manager. And regardless whether I was any good or not, I really worked hard at it, and I got to see behind the scenes of things. I would go and do, I would spend time with people, and there's so much of a misconception about football, and people have no concept about that world of like, it is basically entertainment, and it's also just, it's like how the sausage is made. Once you see it, you really can't unsee it. So, but what's the biggest misconception people have about music producers and maybe music?
So many things.
Sure.
We don't sleep.
Right.
That's definitely one of them. Perfectionist, yes, true. But the misconceptions that it's tough to say. Like, I guess the reality of how a good producer, like the guys that are up at those other levels, they've got their fingers in every single aspect of the artist's music. They understand how to just sit in a corner and hear things that even the musician doesn't hear. I'm a musician, a blessed session musician, right? A drummer primarily, and I've worked on a lot of projects. And but like, I've also had to learn something new every day in the music world. So there's that perception that we know it all already, and these music producers are God, and these guys, no. We learn new things every day. I literally learn new things every day. I mean, and I've been very successful, but I've also had more failures than maybe successes.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
I mean, I'll peel back the peel, so to speak, or whatever. I was literally fired doing a job when I was first getting like in the game, pretty heavy. I thought my shit didn't stink, and I was the best thing out there. And I was fired. And as I was packing my gear, my replacement was walking in the door.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's how I learned very quickly, like,
Right.
holy crap, there's millions of us. And
Right.
this is a very like, we are just disposable. So,
Right.
I mean, I guess if that kind of answers some of it.
Yes, sir.
That's my thing, is like just thinking that the perception that we all just, I don't know, we think we're holier than thou. That's a kind of a perception that happens a lot. No, we're just blue collar workers, whether we're producers, whether we're session musician and producer, whatever it may be, right?
Right.
Anything.
At the end of the day in music, you are a blue collar worker. You really are, especially at that level. Like I say, I don't sleep. I'm up about 5, 6 every morning with meetings, with you name it, whether it's film, because it's film and music for me. So
Yes.
it's just
Yes.
constant, go.
When you talked about everybody's replaceable, I had a coach tell me one time, an old, like a veteran coach I really respected, and he told me, he was like, life's like hand in a bucket. Your hand's in the bucket, and it's there. Everybody sees it. And as soon as you take your hand away, that water resets, and it's like your hand was never there.
Yep.
And that's that if you're not always evolving, at least in my opinion, and always like constant, never-ending improvement. The Japanese, I think it's like kanzai, or I forget the term, but it's like that constant, never-ending improvement. You have to, because you're like an Olympic athlete. Like you have to be so dialed into what you're doing, how you're doing it, the perception you're giving out, but also like making sure that, like you said, that you're staying on top of the technology, the trends. Even in football, people don't understand like schemes and stuff. They change so quickly. If you sit out for 2 or 3 years in coaching, you basically lose it, which is why I'm retired. But it's crazy in how things evolve, and yes, there's certainly a base level, and it's not like you can't learn the things that have evolved. But at the same time, it is that constant, never-ending improvement. And the fact is, you've heard this expression: you're never as good as they say that you are. You're never as bad as you say that you are. And at football, we watch the tape, and you think you have this great game and do all this, and it's like, oh well, we were actually kind of lucky that this play worked. And the reality of it, So
You have to be well-rounded in every single aspect of the industry. And if you sit there and say, well, I'm just into rock and roll, but I'm into metal, and you're Britney Spears or you're Taylor Swift or whatever, that's horrible. And then
Right.
you're definitely not going to make it far.
Right.
Like if you don't have the ability to appreciate every music, every bit of music, every one way or another, you're not going to always agree with it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But the old guys that are stuck in the way, that are still getting jobs because they produced a gold record back in 1974.
Yep.
There's
Yeah.
a reason why they don't have
Yeah.
a gold record since
Right.
1974.
Right.
Right. They still get hired because
Yes.
of that, but it doesn't mean
Yes.
they've produced anything good, because
Right.
they don't progress.
Right.
It's the music industry is a weird thing. It took a computer company, it took Apple to essentially save the music business. The Capitol and Sony and all these
Yes.
labels at the time refused to really understand what was going on in the early 2000s.
Right.
They were still this dated system of, put the artist out there, we'll put a bunch of money behind them, and they're going to go tour, and they're going to record, and everybody's going to buy records. No, it tanked it. It took
Right.
iTunes
Right. Yes.
to
Yeah.
literally, it took
Yeah.
iTunes.
iTunes. Yeah.
And so it was a computer brand. It's kind
Right.
of a weird thought. It's just
Right.
kind of on that progression. And
Right. Right.
So
So true. What role do you think being able to motivate, inspire, work with people? So this is a question for both you guys. Weigh in also if you want. But What role? Because I understand the football, I know how, but what role do you think the ability to connect with people, inspire, motivate? What is the social skill aspect? How important is that in what you do? You can touch on that first, as far as working with kids, obviously teaching. I want to talk more about that, but like to talk about that, the ability to connect with someone and also kind of tap into their own desires and so forth.
I mean, it's kind of like both ways. I mean, you think of it as a performer. My job is the second I go through that curtain is to create that connection. I need to make them believe everything I'm doing out there is real and genuine.
Yes.
You can't fake passion, and people sense that.
Right.
And a lot of the audience, a lot of people that go out there, they just want to go out there and do the moves. It's like, no, it's slow, methodical. It's storytelling. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So if you can walk out there and command the attention of the audience from the second you leave, go out the curtain, you come back, that you've done your job as a performer. And that's just carrying that over into even the professional side of things. You got to be able to connect with your athletes and show them. Like I would, and you can relate to this, like I would never expect my students to do something I really wasn't willing to do myself.
Right.
Because
that's big. That's big. Yeah.
There's a lot of people that love to abuse power.
Yes.
And they want to control it.
Yes.
All I'm doing is taking everything I taught,
Yes.
was taught at the very top of this industry, and just pushing it to that next level.
I want you to continue. I was listening to a podcast. I do a little podcast every day, and it was about leadership, and it was about Dwight Eisenhower. And Dwight Eisenhower would, first of all, he was one of the only generals who would like take like deep work. So he would detach from everything. He wouldn't listen to the noise. He would just sit alone. And he had a quote. And, you hear this now with football coaches, but at the time it was sort of new. He said, if D-Day is a success, it's because the soldiers were able to get it done. And if D-Day is a failure, it's because I didn't do a good enough job, enough planning. Yep. And that's, I think that's sort of in the realm of what you're speaking about. And from one of the, greatest general, leaders of all time in our, in Western history. And I can relate to what you're saying because it's so true. People, really, it comes back to that. What you do say, speak so loudly, I can't hear what you say. And people are always looking at what you're doing, And I think I was a little apprehensive to just understand that when I was younger. Now I just know that, like it doesn't matter what I say. It's really just how I kind of perform. And when I say perform, I mean how I really, if I can just enthrall myself, be engaged 100%, and just love the process, and know that, like what you said about the failure, it's like it's so valid, and just. Thank you for sharing that. And if you wanted to continue,
I think we pretty much touched on it. It's just like to build those connections, you have to be real and genuine. And that's performance. That's leadership. Like I said, it's like I can't be the only superstar here. Like if that's the case, then what the heck am I doing this for? Like we need to have, like that's the biggest thing. Like we're so close to getting ID'd by WWE, and the biggest thing they always tell me is like we need 5 Manny Lemons. Okay, well I'm only one. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
like I need to find 5
right,
people who have
right,
the same desire, same passion,
right,
same motive.
Right.
How do we do that? Well, we have a training system where we try to create them.
Yes.
And that's one thing why we will always be around, because let's say someone doesn't get their way and they go somewhere else. Great. I wish them nothing but the best, but just understand that your replacement's right behind you. That's the good thing about creating. Like we can't cut the root of the pipeline. We need to continue to develop that root so we can continue to create more stars.
Yes.
So that way this scene and industry can blow up more,
Yes.
So I think it's just with that. Lead by example is the biggest thing.
100%.
Yes. And I wanted you to answer the question about the mindset. What's one, like, is there a student success story that like really shaped you or motivated you more than others? Like, is there one time, does something stick out in your brain where like,
I mean, the biggest thing for me is like, obviously when I got into wrestling, like the reason why I started the school is because the woman I was with at the time wanted to become a professional wrestler. She's actually named Rekka Tahaka. She's my ex-wife, but to see her take everything that I created and everything I said, and she, ended up getting 2 contracts out of the industry, and that was off my tutelage after my game plan. So I showed people, this is how it's done. This is the way it's supposed to be. That's a success story for me because that's my student. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Regardless of we share a bed or not.
You're a good man, sir. Guys, that right there is a story that, like, you see, I always say this about men. I know people don't believe this all the time. And I know we have, and God knows I have a different way of viewing the world. But like, man, like a man, we really do. Once we like connect with somebody and really try hard and like grow with them, we kind of always love them. Like at the end of the day, we kind of always like a little bit of us lives on in them. And I know that sounds, I have a largely female audience, and I have female friends who debate me on this and are like, oh no, I'm telling you, men, when we really invest in something and we really go, like, even if it's somebody we grew close with, we kind of never forget about them, you know. And but yes, sir, go ahead.
And I mean, there's a bunch of success stories with that. I mean, when AEW came here to town, you know, last year, I was wrestling at the Maverick Center. I had one of my students, Pablo, actually get a match, and it was really humbling to hear the crowd chant his name, and you know, especially in the Maverick Center, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, those are cool moments. You know, Brett Buffet's another kid who he got into the NWA, and I helped him do that. You know what I mean? When WWE came to town last month, I had 10 of my students booked for the shows. You know what I mean? So it's like it's constantly cool to help the people that are behind you, because again, they need to carry this for the next generation.
Yes.
I'm not going to be around forever.
Yes.
So there's always that. But that's a blessing for sure, because like I said, if I'm not helping people, what the hell?
I know. That's all of us. If you study psychology, like having a higher purpose, which is in service of others, it's like actualizing your potential within the purpose that you have, which is to actually help people. Like legitimately, psychologically, even if you're being selfish, like if you want to be happy, try to be the best version of yourself in the pursuit of helping other people. That's the sweet spot of life. But even just from like a narcissistic perspective, if you do that, that's what leads to happiness. You cannot stimulate your way. You're not going to entertain yourself. You're not going to have some sort of pleasure. It doesn't matter what pleasurable experience you have. It will not go before that. That actually, you know, as far as happiness. And I wanted you to touch on too, as far as the ability to work with people. How important is that? The psychological aspect of dealing with people, and maybe what have you learned? But as far as you have great social skills, unbelievable. I mean, world-class social skills. But I'm sure that's evolved some working in your business. But could you speak about that and maybe the role that social skills has played?
I mean, social skills. Oh gosh, for me, I think they're key. It's common sense too. Yeah. Social skills to me are common sense.
Yes.
There's so many people that hurt our brains every day, all day.
They're NPCs. They truly are. You would go touch them and they would do this thing, right? I promise you they would.
Life is just a GTA lobby.
100% right there. It is. For me, my social skills and for like influencing and lifting people up, it's my whole thing is that, you know, there's something that my faith says a lot, which is lift where you stand. And I think a lot of people don't get that. And again, if you don't get that, you're an NPC, because it's pretty self-explanatory what it means, you know. And it's kind of what you just said, that you want to make sure you're your best person in front of that person or whatever it may be, whoever you're trying to influence all the time. We're not always going to be perfect.
Right.
But I get a lot of that from my wife. She's amazing. Crystal's probably at home chilling out with our dog, Spike. She says the cortisol thing a lot, you know. We'll be in traffic and I'll be like, oh my God, these Utah drivers are horrible. And she'll go, honey, cortisol.
Right.
Don't let your cortisol levels raise.
Right.
It's not important.
Right.
That's fine. But as for lifting people up, I will relate it to this one. And I try not to get choked up, but I won't. This one here is like literally our everything, like straight fact. This Jaden girl right here. She came in our life when she was very young. She's now 18 years old, still very young. But she just one day, like, you know, I was really good friends with the parents, and one day she just was attached at my hip, and it was like we don't have kids. Okay, my wife and I have an adopted son, but we were never able to have kids. And so I kind of saw this moment of like, okay, she's not disappearing, and she's looking up to me in a different way than most, you know, you just see it when a kid, when you're a student or whatever it may be.
Right.
And so that, like, I really wanted to instill in her that confidence and that this, you know, this level of lifting where you stand everywhere she goes, walking in a high school classroom and making sure she walked in there with major confidence, because she didn't have the most confidence. This beautiful girl, believe it or not, did not have any confidence at all. Was very depressed, and I hated it. And I knew that, okay, I have to step my game up, and I have to make sure that I give her every tool, every resource, the confidence, the simple messages every day that are like uplifting, right?
Right.
And now here it is all these years later, and my wife and I both, I would definitely take a bullet for this girl. She's definitely amazing, and to see her confidence, right? To see her lift, and to have a role in kind of saving her life and mine.
Right.
Because at the time I wasn't necessarily in a dark place. I've never been that dark, but I was a little bit, you know, just not happy with who I was.
Right.
And so it was a few years later, we were actually celebrating her 16th birthday. And she had told me she would never imagined her being in a limousine. That was the wrong thing to say to me. right? Because
Yeah.
like we got her a like stretched limo. We took her to Lagoon, and just it was whatever the hell she wanted to do, right? And I can remember driving home after that day, and we're driving in the car, and I asked her, I said, well, what do you want to do? You know, we can all go goof around. And she goes, I just want to go eat dinner with you. And I was like, really? Oh, okay. So we ditched everybody else, right? She could have done whatever she wanted that night.
Right.
And so we're driving to dinner, and she's staring out the window. And that moment, I swear I'll never forget the rest of my life. And I said, what's wrong, babe? And she goes, I never ever thought this would happen. And she just started crying, and I started crying.
Yeah.
And she started talking about how dark she was at that time.
Right.
And here it was all these years later where it was this culmination of the reality of of the hard work I'd put in,
Right.
but also seeing her lift herself up
Right.
from just the simple encouragement. I hope that's making sense.
Yes, it does.
Because I feel like that story is very important to understanding. Like she lifted her, I gave her the tools to,
Right.
but she lifted herself up on her own.
Yeah.
And so not everybody's going to reciprocate when you try to give them these tools.
Right. Right.
I find myself getting a little angry here and there in life, right? We all do.
Yeah.
But I have to check myself because I hate doing it in front of her.
Right.
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 And my wife. But they'll keep me in check.
Or even if it's things I do.
Oh, yeah. That's a whole nother story.
He's like a true dad, and there's sometimes I just want to strangle him.
That's funny. I want to talk more about music in a second, but you're such an independent thinker, and just within 2 minutes his energy. And what's one thing you would say to people to help them think a little bit more independently,
One thing.
if there was, or if there's
Oh, man, dude.
if there's something that's helped
it's
you?
weird because nowadays you can't say things like this without sounding political.
I know.
Okay, I'll tell you what you do. Stop the most reckless thing that has happened to this country. And it is going to be political, but without
Yeah.
is voting party line. It has caused people to not think independently anymore.
Right.
You were either born a Democrat or you were born a Republican, and you've been divided since the day you were born. F Trump and F Biden, and what the hell is that about? You have people that are now fighting over politicians that don't even know your name and don't care about you.
Exactly.
They don't care
1000.
about. They don't know your address. They don't know what you.
1000%.
They do not
Yep.
care about you. That you can't afford food or you can't.
Nope,
Yet you're
exactly.
going to hate your brother in some cases or your mom and
Yeah.
dad in some cases
Yeah.
because they voted Trump or they
Yeah.
voted for Biden.
Insanity. Yeah.
That is literally Einstein's definition of
Yeah.
insanity. Let's keep doing the same thing
Yeah.
over and over again and
Yeah.
expecting a better result.
I-
It's scary.
no,
It's sad.
It's sad.
History is that way.
Keep repeating
Yeah.
yourself. Keep repeating. Don't listen. Don't listen.
The one of the biggest evils is identity politics. When you vilify one group of people, and turn this group of people against that group of people, it is a very Machiavellian, psychopathic
100%
approach, and which is why yesterday I announced my candidacy for the United States House of Representatives on the Libertarian Party. And so if you're looking for if you're looking for a different, I'm meeting with the chair of the Utah Libertarian Party tomorrow, so we can work it all out. But if you're interested in a third party,
That's kind of cool.
to
I love that because that's kind of like I just think. Turn. I had a college professor telling me that if you really wanted to be successful, if you go into law, right, check your ID log at the door. Just leave it at the door, right? Stop. And so I don't know. I guess I just kind of started seeing this camp against that camp, and I
Exactly.
started seeing this.
Yep.
I truly think it's weird to me the amount of people that really, I hate to say this and pick on them a little bit, they really do have TDA, Trump derangement syndrome, or TDS, whatever they call it, Trump
Right,
derangement
right,
syndrome.
right.
Because it's like these people, they just look different when you see them now. And I give two craps if
Right,
Trump
right,
or
right,
not.
right,
I don't
right,
care about
right.
him. I didn't vote
Exactly.
for him.
Yeah,
But I'm
yeah.
not going to lose sleep.
Right,
And there's these
right.
people that just look
Right.
so, it's weird. It's almost
It's
like
weird.
the movie They Live where you can see people with the glasses, right? Where
weird, man.
Ryder Piper walks around
Yeah.
with the glasses and
Yeah.
sees the aliens.
Yeah.
That's what I'm seeing more and
It's-
more.
it's-
so
yeah.
turn off your phone.
Yeah,
You know, like
1,000%.
think freely. Read.
Go touch grass.
Yes, go touch grass. Go read Machiavelli. Go read. You can go read maybe Solinsky. Then go read like some conservative literature. Just get well-rounded.
100%.
Right.
100%.
And like understand history.
Yep.
I think that's a big one too.
Yeah.
I have now educated myself so much on history and free thinking and understanding, and I left religion for spirituality. If that makes sense.
Yep.
I still have my faith. Spirituality will help you be more free thinking. I hope that all makes sense.
It is great, and if I can just piggyback, I have my cousin. I'm very close with him, and he's an aerospace engineer down in Huntsville, and he works with NASA. And he was telling me about he grew up. We all grew up religious down there, like Baptist, very, very like independent, independent Baptist church, which is very similar to almost like the Church of Latter-day Saints, and that's very strict, very strict interpretation.
Oh, yeah.
And he was maybe late 20s when he kind of got away from it, and he's like, any sort of dogma, any sort of thing that you just, it has to be this thing. It's just unhealthy, and he's a man of freedom. He loves free markets, but he's always willing to look at things and be like, I just can't. You can't just be on this autopilot all the time. And religion, and when you grew up the way we did, and I don't know if you got, but when you grow up kind of very strongly religious, you're taught that there's right and wrong, when in reality, or there's good and bad, and when in reality, it's like, dude, there's so much gray in life that there's so much.
It's all gray.
We're always evolving, and the same person on one day is going to be different. But just in general, even it's almost like a fairy tale. And I'm not bashing religion, but to your point about spirituality, it's like, guys, like life is complex. We are complex beings ourselves, and
I think it's a matrix in some ways. It feels like it though. Like even today, driving here in traffic. Really, you go to work at 8 a.m. You all have to go to lunch at 12. You all have to, but you all then have to get out at 5, all at the same time.
Right.
So then what that creates is stress. Mm-hmm. So everybody's pent up, everybody's stressed out, and it never allows you to have freedom.
Yeah.
It's just,
so
what I mean?
true. And let me tell you, so I've been investing since I was but what I'm going to say, I'm going to give a context. Been investing since I was 21 years old. Very financially disciplined, have poured, and I'm to the point now where I am financially independent, but like I am the person who's like worries about all that kind of stuff. But then like part of me is like, if I just spent the last 20 years making, like you said, 30, 40 grand a year and just enjoying my life, as a bartender somewhere, there's actually an argument for that. like as far as like what makes us happy, like living out in the grass, living in some, tent or something. And I'm not saying, but I'm not like that. I do want to optimize things. I've been the guy investing in the crypto and doing foreign currencies and all this nerdy stuff. But it also took so much time out of my life. It took so much things. There's so many missed opportunities for working 80 hours for the last 15 years. But I see both sides where I'm like, does any of this stuff matter? What, it's digital numbers on a screen. And again, I went over my investment portfolio before. I believe in all those. You should you should read Buddha and know your Social Security number. There is a role for a pragmatic approach to life. But at the same time, it's like, dude, who has the right answer to any of this stuff? And this is somebody who has a business that's a podcast, and I'm always working. You know the work I do, and I believe in like having like those stable things and having health insurance and all that. But also, it's like there's people who don't do any of that. Like you said, they're free, and part of us, we're in this industrialized society, and we know intuitively that like we're not built for this, but yet we keep doing it.
And start to believe in UFOs. That'll free your mind too. That's a whole nother topic.
There's so many lights out in the sky. Like,
Ooh, yes.
even if you're just driving and you're just zoning out,
Open your minds.
look at the sky. Like, yes, there's a lot of planes, helicopters, like jets, whatever. There's also some just random bright lights.
I agree with
that
that.
I love it.
You're just driving by and you're like, oh,
Yes.
it's probably a plane. Then you look closer and it's like, well, it's just sitting in one spot, or it's like, it's not even blinking.
I got freaked out when the two airplane pilots, the two Air Force pilots, testified in front of Congress, and they were like, "Yeah, we saw this thing, and it had like a big green head."
Yeah.
And you can Google this, and
what's crazy
that
about
for
that-
me, it was like, what?
It does go back to the freedom thing, though. It literally, you have to start to just realize, guys, like, come on, just look at the sky.
Exactly.
We are this big in a universe that goes on
Oh,
forever
for
and
sure.
ever.
There's
So to
no
think
doubt.
that
Oh,
books
easily.
that we as man wrote
Yes.
or
Oh,
whatever
God,
are
yeah.
unfallible
Oh
is
yeah, no.
asinine.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
I'm gonna stop now.
I want to talk about from kindergarten on, we're taught sit down, pretty much shut up.
Mm-hmm.
How did you break from that programming? It's a question I want to ask you. I got a question for you in a second. But how did you break from that? Because we're all indoctrinated, and even I work in the school district, so I do different things in it. I'm more of the fun person, the person who builds people up. So I'm not doing. But how did you break free from that? Because so many of us didn't.
Determination.
Yeah.
I just never stopped. I basically, if we use the store as an example, right? Because the store saw success quick. I was at another store running that store, kind of like she touched on. It was good at first, and then it was just kind of I've got a vision. Then I don't care how this sounds. I had a vision that I knew I could do different, and maybe better, in how I did it, and that's confidence, people. not arrogance. I knew my vision would succeed. I had people that kept telling me, "Oh no, just you shut up and just keep being our little manager or whatever."
Right.
And I said, "Screw that. No." So I literally looked in the mirror one day and I said, "This is going to be scary, but I'm doing it." So I had to conquer my fear of failure, possibility, whatever.
Yes.
I ended up getting literally a $14,000 loan from a kind of a crazy guy. That was scary because I shouldn't have done it, but like I kind of, in a way, knew the guy was. I knew that I'd put the fear of God in him in a way. That's a whole nother story. But I paid him back within 30 days, and my business went boom from there.
Right.
I literally took that 14 grand, invested it into my new store. I opened a
Yeah.
store in a little basement in Provo.
Yeah.
In a basement of a place that at the time was called Platinum Music and Sports, founded by Steve Nuttall, awesome guy.
Big, huge record store.
Yeah, great record store. They had live music, and it was this cool kind of match made in heaven, right? It wasn't cheap, though. Center Street, Provo is extremely expensive real estate. But within a year, I had moved into a mall. And then within 2 years in that mall, I moved into a Class A mall. So literally here we are going into year number 5. And my brand just keeps going up, 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 up. And I would say that all of that has to do with I had to look in the mirror and conquer the fear.
Yeah.
That's the best way to answer that
Yes.
question right there.
I love that.
It's just, nope, I'm doing it.
Love that.
And my wife is amazing. Again, Crystal, you're amazing. She was like, I know you can do it. You got
Yeah.
this. You know,
There's something to that. Just having, first of all, you guys are awesome business partners because just to be in the same radius with somebody, the energy is contagious. You know,
Yeah.
Obviously you have great mental discipline, and you being around him and vice versa. It's like it just feeds you. You know,
he's
it just
definitely, he
it
doesn't realize
feeds
it, but
you.
I've
you
learned
know.
a lot from him.
Yeah, it feeds you. You know,
though,
it feeds you. You're just like you feel that you can't help yourself. And if you've never been to Platinum Toys in Sandy, Southtown Mall, it is an experience. It'll take your breath away, and it's just an awesome thing. And it's a man who's trying to add value to society. It's a beautiful thing, and
Gallery of nostalgia.
it's a gallery of nostalgia, and I've participated in it. We've bought stuff, but also just had stuff, so shared things. So
Yeah.
there's so much here. What's something life taught you the hard way?
Life taught me the hard way
Yes.
that not everyone's on your side.
Wow.
That's,
Fact.
that's the
Valid.
that's the biggest thing is because
Yeah.
again, when you try to start something, there's so many people that come in like, oh, we want to help, we want to make it better. But like I said, if you operate, my intent, I always operate on pure intentions. I always do what's best for the business. And I've had the closest people to me betray me, leave me. I brought up my ex. My biggest fear in wrestling was her leaving me for another wrestler.
Yeah, and it
That
happened. It happened.
Now I don't have any fears, if that makes sense. It's like but that was, you had to learn that the hard way,
Right.
If I didn't go, we were talking about this being spiritual earlier. Every situation in my life has led me to this moment right here, and I am forever grateful. And we don't worry about the end goal, like we said. We can't worry about the journey. It's everything that's happening up to that.
Yes.
And I wouldn't take it
Yes.
away. I wouldn't change
No.
my legacy, my journey for nothing.
No, and
Life closes one door and opens another.
Yep.
100%.
I love that saying.
there's. What's the strangest? This is for both of you. This is I have because I want to. I had questions. I had stuff I want to speak with you both of you guys about. And again, we edit all this. But what's the strangest, maybe story, craziest story, customer interaction you guys can share right here, right now?
Well, there's the ice cream one.
Yeah, there's that one.
That one's just kind of like really.
I'll let you, if you can think. If you can think of one.
Oh. Strangest ones. I mean, I gotta say, people that the walk in the store and what we were saying about NPCs, they just stand.
Which stands for non-player character,
Yeah.
right?
Yes,
Non-playable
non-playable
character.
character.
Non-playable character. Yeah.
And they walk into the store and just stare and just stand there, not even move, not even look around, just go,
Yep. It's weird.
turn around and walk out.
Yep.
It's funny. We work right across from Foot Locker. I went in there and talked to one of their people, and he was like, yeah, we have people do it all at the same time. I'm like, do you guys go into the hair salon next to us?
I know, it's
Do you
weird.
just stand in there and be
Just
like,
go store to store and stand there and then walk out
it's like,
looking confused.
I get looking at oh, they probably don't have my thing. If you do a loop or walk in and be like, oh wait, what am I doing? I'm on autopilot. Just stand there and just it's like, what?
It's
what
crazy.
are you doing?
I've had a lot of big I've had a lot of like really cool, like, oh my gosh, like that's Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah.
That's like Greg Grunberg. Are you kidding? They
Lead
just
singer of
walk in the store. They're just whoa.
wandering the mall.
They're just in town on something. Next thing they walk in the door. When I was downtown at my downtown location, Bill Murray just walks in the door because he was doing a thing at Audi across the street.
Yeah.
That's funnier than hell. And I'm like, and he walked up to his 1985 Ghostbusters action figure, and he was like, well, "That's a cool action figure. Who's that guy? He's ugly." It was funnier than hell.
That's funny.
It was rad.
about that.
And so like,
That's funny.
but one of the craziest things I'll tell you what, real, this,
Yeah,
I got,
yeah.
So I had to, we had these little gangbangers when I had to pull.
Oh,
So I'm a concealed carry permit
Yes.
guy. And I was walking the mall one day and I had these like 3 little gangbangers. They just start staring at me and they literally start crap talking me out of nowhere. Just like, I'm
you're
going to
just
stick.
trying to do your own thing.
I don't even know these guys, never seen them in my life. They were like 14, 15, maybe 16 years old,
Yeah.
right? And I literally looked right at them and I said, I'm not the one you want to mess with, kid. Keep walking.
Right.
Because I really don't have patience. A lot of people know that about me. I used to fight a lot. I'm glad I don't anymore. But yeah. So at this moment, though, they kept like weirdly, I just felt something that didn't feel right.
Right.
Okay. And I went into my store, and I was getting ready to leave. So
Yes.
I just went in there, and I looked at the employee, and I said, I'm going to get out of here, but keep your eye open for these little gangbangers
Yeah.
that are roaming the mall. Because I don't care how old you are. When you're growing up in California, gangbangers, these are violent little
Yes.
SOBs.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
especially, and you could just tell. You
Yes.
can read them like a book.
Yeah.
Nothing
so-
dirty. Get your head out of the mind.
Yeah,
Get
yeah.
out of the gutter.
Yes, pick it right up. And so they literally,
Same.
I knew something wasn't right. So I grabbed my pistola, as I call her,
Yes.
and I put it in my back pocket. I
Yes.
racked it. I didn't mess
Yes.
around. I put it in my back pocket.
Yes.
Because you never know.
Yeah.
Because I knew I had to walk up to my car.
Right.
And I get out to my car and I'm like, okay, cool, nothing to worry about. And I put my bag in the car, and literally, like something out of a movie, as soon as I go like this, I turn and there they are. They're like, boom, and they're walking up on me, coming at me like little, like coyotes.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'll stick you. Why are you talking like that? I'm gonna stick you. And I'm like, you're gonna stick me? And he literally shows me his knife. And I remember it was awesome. I've watched a lot of Westerns.
Yes.
First thing out of my mouth, I didn't pay. I just looked right at him dead and I said, really, kid? You gonna bring a knife to a gunfight? And he goes, well, you ain't got no gun. I said, oh, I don't? And oh, you better believe they saw that.
Yeah.
And it was awesome because at that moment, the 2 kids that were with him ran, I swear to God, like squirrely little, they ran off because they realized they were following the wrong guy,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And so he takes off and whatever. And next thing you know, the police are calling me, of course. And I
Yes.
called security right away and I
Yeah.
told them what had happened. And then I
Yeah.
went about my day. I left and went home. And then Sandy PD calls me. And Sandy PD was amazing. Sandy PD, you're amazing. Like they literally were like, the first thing the cop says to me is, did you really tell this kid don't bring a knife to a gunfight?
That's hilarious.
I said, I sure as hell did. And he goes, praise Jesus.
That's
That's
hilarious.
amazing. That is amazing. I said, I shit you not. That's what I
Yes.
said. Pardon my language. And so
This is the value of concealed carry, though. This is, you guys know.
de-escalated the
It
situation. like that.
de-escalated the
Yep.
situation, and there's the old saying, God made man and cult made man equal.
Yes.
And it evens the playing field where it's not, you could have a 72-year-old man and he doesn't have to worry about getting hit in the side of the face because he can protect himself.
And the best part about it, every one of our employees are trained. Every one of them understand the value of that. And so, oh yeah, she knows. And so that was hilarious. And the mom of the kid, I got to tell this part. The mom of the kid, so they were at the police station. The police
Yes.
found these 2 kids and picked them up.
Yes.
They detained them.
Yes.
And because it ended up backfiring on them, right?
Yes.
And so they're at the police station, and the cop's telling me kind of how the mom was,
Sure.
like,
Sure.
I can't believe you let this, you let him pull a gun on a minor. I cannot believe that. And and the cop literally looks like, goes, well, ma'am, your son should probably choose better friends.
Right.
Dude, it
Right.
was
Unless he
epic.
threatened you
Right.
first. So.
Oh, no.
Right.
And again, a lot of people that aren't trained, they say that when you pull, you should always use it. That's not the case. They were far enough away to where if he would have came at me with that knife, that's a different story. But it was just de-escalated. I got in my car,
Right.
I left, whatever. And it was kind of this funny, but it was actually, talk about crazy though.
Yeah.
Like that's still one of those things that, mall management's like, damn, dude, like don't mess with Gabe.
That's
Jesus
funny.
Christ.
That's hilarious.
He's a nice guy, but
The card.
Well,
don't
we
threaten me.
our proud supporters Unite, which is also in Southtown Mall. And
Hey, Unite's amazing.
If you know John Call and Unite,
I do know.
we did our Saving Humanity podcast event on Thursday. We were down there. We had a big crowd. I mean, a good crowd of people who were in the community, and they showed up, and we just connected and learned, and we did a little giveaway. But we're all about the Second Amendment here, and it's really just about like you said, just like being a better version of yourself. Also, it means something to, if you train to fight, or if you do mixed martial arts, or if you can still carry, you're just protecting yourself and maybe whoever's with you. And so it's just another aspect of sort of evolving yourself.
She mentioned, remind you, the card show? Mm-hmm. Oh, God, real quick.
Yeah.
This guy,
Okay.
guy shows up at our card show. This was the last card show we do. My wife started a company called Crossroad Cards and Memorabilia Show, and it gets 5,000 to 6,000 per day, about 10,000 for the weekend. It's one of the biggest in the
Sure,
state now. We're blessed. It's awesome.
Yes.
And it's freaking packed. And this guy shows up, and he's literally walking around doing whippets, like a whippet can, like for those nitrous, right?
Yes.
He's just getting loaded. And he's just walking the show, getting loaded, walking up to people, scaring them, like
And
kind
he's
of.
trying to sell products
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Random cards, not even like football or anything. It's just like Simpsons cards.
Random
And
stuff.
so we're like, okay,
Simpsons
whatever.
cards.
Like
That's
Pokemon
funny.
figures.
So he
And-
basically, we had one of the vendors didn't feel comfortable, right? So he comes
Yeah.
up to us. We get security involved. He's like, I don't feel comfortable with this guy. He's just weird. I feel like he's about to snap or
Sure,
something, whatever,
sure.
right? But he ended up kind of going a little crazy, doing too much
'Cause
nitrous.
He was nice. He was chill at first. But then if you be like, oh, hey, I'm not interested, or
Oh, he'd lose it.
that card's not as much as you
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
he'd start getting angry.
He would lose
And
it.
so we're just like, okay.
So the great part about, long story short, security comes. He gets violent with this vendor, and I see it. And most people had never seen this side of me.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in the San Joaquin Valley of California. If you didn't fight, you were screwed. Simple fact.
That reminds me of the Southeast. Just
100% simple fact. And I was definitely the minority where I grew up and all of that fun. That's
Yeah.
a whole nother story. And so I basically, right then, my fight or flight, and I've always been the more fight versus flight, right? And I said, oh, hell no, he did not just go threaten a vendor. And I walked over there, and security's already trying to handle it, dude. And I said, I got this. And security's like, no, Gabe, no. And they get behind me, dude. And I followed this guy. And this dude was a lot bigger than me. And I follow. He goes up the stairs. He comes around. I get in his face, dude. He walked up into like a cul-de-sac. Not a good thing to do, right? And he backed himself in.
Literally cornered himself.
Yeah, cornered himself. And I said, dude, you're like, I said a bunch of stuff to him that I won't repeat because, a lot of language. So we escort him out, okay? And everybody in the card show is watching it. There's like a ton of people.
I'm walking right behind him, ready to grab in case he swings, not him, but
This one.
the other dude swings, so I can pull him
That's
back
funny.
Little Banny Rooster.
and also go.
funny.
So we get him outside. Security says, no, Gabe, don't. So I pried the doors open. And I
They're
literally
literally closing
pried them open.
the glass doors.
And I get out there and I got right in his face. And I told him he had three options. I said, you can either go to sleep because I'm going to knock you out. Straight said that to him. This dude was big. And I don't know what got into me. And I said, you can go to jail because the cops are going to come.
Right.
Or you can get in your car and leave.
Right.
The funny part about it all is he literally busted down and just
Started bawling.
He just bawled. So talk about insane event, right? High as hell on nitrous. And then you get in his face, and I'm expecting something to go down,
Right.
and he literally just starts crying.
I know.
And then the cops arrested him at his house, and
Yeah.
poor guy at the end of
That's
the day.
sad.
Apparently, he
yeah.
was in Mama's car too.
Yeah, yeah.
That's they're
But just don't disrespect my show. Don't disrespect my crew. Don't
Yes.
disrespect my people.
Yep.
And that won't happen. But that was a crazy event.
That's a crazy story. I always say when you hear a story like that, it's like, because just teaching kids, like at one point that man was like a 6-year-old boy who was like so innocent, who had like the world, and that's why it's so important, like the love and energy that we share to others, because you don't know the domino effect it has,
No.
the butterfly effect. And at one point that was an awesome little kid, sweet kid. And because of maybe trauma and pain that were inflicted on him, he now had this energy he couldn't deal with, and it manifests itself in a peaceful place like that.
Oh, yeah.
And but at the same time, that man was once a sweet little kid, and so.
But thanks, because you did inspire the new T-shirts for the next show that a lot of the vendors are actually making that simply say you have three choices.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
I like that.
Literally.
I like
It's
that.
great.
I like
Very
that.
funny.
I like that. One of the last questions. What have you learned from entrepreneurship? What's the biggest lesson you've learned from entrepreneurship?
Don't expect everything just handed to you.
Oh, God dang, for sure. Yeah.
It's good.
That's the best thing to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
just-
Like,
I know
up to you.
you can speak on that too.
I mean, it's just like, it's really just connection. You know what I mean? It's not about who you know, but who knows you and will venge for you. You know what I mean?
Networking is
so
Networking.
true.
Networking is key. It's
true.
it's understanding how to surrender your kingdom.
Yep.
Surrender your kingdom, because once you learn how to delegate, the first few years of my brand, we were successful, but it was me. And it was like, but it was like, no, I want it my way.
Right.
But then it was killing me.
Right.
And so I finally realized, wait, this guy does this better than I do. He knows modern better than I do. This guy made, and I just brought these people in and delegated. And I got this amazing team. And
Yes.
now it's like,
Yes.
I swear to God, it's swallowing. That's why Elon Musk is successful, because
He builds teams like,
Oh, man, dude.
like no one else.
oh man, yeah.
He can scale and he also he's done a great job branding too. Like marketing is bigger than you think it is. I'm big into like even like the Grant Cardone stuff. So my background in business is I started a consulting service for football coaches. So you may not even know my story. So I have leukemia. So I have a blood cancer, and I came here to get treated for it at the University of Utah. But it first manifested itself 10 years ago. So that's what took me away from coaching. So I couldn't do anything. I learned how to walk again, hold a fork again, and I was getting treated for cancer at the same time. It basically my spinal cord got collapsed via my vertebrae. So I had to leave football. And I didn't want to just not do anything. I wanted to still work. So I started my own business, and I did it for 3.5 years. And I learned so much. It was the ultimate journey in my life because I didn't do a great job of scaling it, though. To your point, I was a one-man show, and when you're a one-man show, you have to do everything, and there's only 24 hours in a day. So if only. But that it was such a as I learned business, and I learned, I would get in like Grant Cardone and and I would cold call coaches across the country, and I would listen to Grant Cardone or watch his stuff, and then I'd be fired up and I'd do it. And he always talked about that. He always talked about you have to have a brand. If they don't know you, they can't flow you. And I'll never forget that. And you guys are elite entrepreneurs, so thank you for sharing.
I have
with
to say this because you just surprised me, and this may surprise everybody here except her. Hodgkin's lymphoma. I've dealt with it about 6 times. And beat
Okay.
it. I was given a 30% chance to live.
Yes.
So when you talk about what pushes me,
Yes.
I don't talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
That's the kind of guy I am.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
I'm theoretically dealing with shit now. and-
Right.
But I don't
Always is.
stop, right? I just,
Exactly.
I learned that a body in motion stays in motion.
Yes.
Right? And I did a lot of natural stuff, which I still do, because I'm convinced that if I went back to the traditional chemo radiation, I'd be dead. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to keep moving and doing my thing.
Yes.
So amazing.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Amazing
you.
that to hear that from you, because I wouldn't have said it, but I felt like I can relate a little bit, and I just wanted you to hear, like, if you
Thank
need
you.
to talk or
Well, thank you.
about that
Yeah.
sort of thing
Yeah.
ever, you know where I'm at.
No, I'm on a trial drug right now. Just got FDA approved. My cancer was like going terrible, and it just got FDA approved, and it's had great results now. So I came here.
good to hear.
So like when you talk about your theoretically, it's always theoretically on my mind, but it also gives me like so much freedom. Like I just do not care. Like work hard every day, but also like why not? You
You only live once.
you only live once, and there is no everything's fun. Everything is an expression of human creativity. If things work, that's an expression of human creativity. If things work, what we think works. But there's no good, bad. Everything's an expression of human creativity. It's the energy that we're putting out,
Yeah.
and it's all beautiful. This is the best moment of my life. And in an hour from now, that'll be the best moment of my life.
Yeah.
And it's
We're
just a
alive,
beautiful-
right? Misery. My business partner, Ken Pollicard, former executive vice president of Sony. Ken, you are amazing. Love you. And I'm blessed to work with this guy. He's one of my main partners. And he just told me that he kind of chewed me out the other day, and he's really good about this. I was having a bad day, and I was pissed off about finances, and we all deal with debt and medical bills, as you know. And it was stressing me out. And he goes, "Do you need to stop?" He goes, "Don't ever be that misery love company guy, because you're not the misery loves company guy. That's not who you are.
Right.
Don't you check yourself right now, because the amount of billionaires and 100 millionaires and millionaires I know, Gabe, that have died from cancer, that spent millions of their own dollars to survive and
So
still
true.
died.
Yeah.
You're sitting with 60 grand in debt, and you're alive.
Yeah.
These guys would trade you in a second if they
Yeah.
had the option.
Yes.
So it just checked me big time. That
Yes.
just a few days, just rattled me. It was like in a good way, though.
Yes.
I needed that, and it was like 100% spot on.
Yes.
So
And I want you to know you have king's blood pumping through your veins. You're an unbelievable person who's helped a lot of people, but also just like, man, the energy and love you're creating is going to live long after you do.
well,
So
I hope so.
that's the
That's
truth.
what matters.
That's the truth. And as we wrap things up, if you want to, feel free to do like a 20-second promo right now. Like I can edit this, so we can do this. But like I'll send you the video. You want to do like a 20-second? You can do how long you want promo for the wrestling event on Saturday.
I'll try to be quick. One thing, platinumtoys.com, platinum-toys.com, I should say. Go follow us. Go follow Platinum Toys Utah on all the socials. That then leads you to DCW. or go follow Devotion Championship Wrestling. Go follow both, obviously. Just go follow them. You'll see all the events. Not this next weekend, right?
This coming weekend.
This coming weekend. My God, it's already Monday.
Already here.
The 13th, 12th and 13th. It's the 7th anniversary show. Come down. It's going to be a banger. The Good Brothers. We got Tommy Dreamer coming. It's going to be awesome. So I am excited about that. I'm going to let Manny do the rest of that.
Yeah, the biggest thing is check us out on the social media, Devotion Championship Wrestling on X, Instagram, Facebook. We've been promoting this show like crazy. You'll see the ticket links there to get there. We got the show kicking it off with the meet and greet with the Good Brothers at Platinum Toys, Southtown Mall, 5 to 7.
Yes.
Then we got a show number 1, which is going to be Talkin' Shop DCW bar fights out of Kamikazes in Ogden. We got a huge surprise that Gabe's going to present that day, so we hope people show up to see that. We got the big show, December 13th, the Masonic Temple, 7-year anniversary. Main event, Manny Lemons, Tommy Dreamer for the DCW Heavyweight Champion. Baby.
Super exciting.
Love it. I'm excited. I want to do something. I can't do anything at all because I've had like 6 surgeries, but I'm going to think about doing something.
Yeah.
And
You drop an elbow.
do you? Yeah.
Do like
Hey.
a little love tap.
Yes. And do you have just something fun? Do you have any sort of, Ric Flair has woo and The Rock has if you smell? Do you have any sort of little thing that you do with the mic or anything? If you'd like to do it.
You got to bite the sour. Get the power. Ah!
Yes. Oh, yeah. I tell you what, if you can do this kind of stuff, you can almost do anything because it brings it out of you, man. It brings it out of you. I used to just working with little kids, and I would always do little voices, and I would channel my inner 10-year-old self when I was watching Ric Flair, or as the kids follow me. I was a PE teacher at elementary school, and I'd have like 30 kids follow me up a hill, and every so often I'd go, woo, and then I'd hear, half a second later, about 15 little woo, and so there's something there's beauty in that, and there's something awesome about just play too. As we talked about the toys, and there was so much I want to talk about that, but as I want to be respectful of everyone's time, but there's so much about play. We don't, everything is digital now. So much is digital, and when you think back to the 80s and 90s, children. And there was video games, but 80s and 90s, the kind of vintage toys that you have. Yeah. For me, it was G.I. Joes. I played football with them. You know this because I ended up selling. The G.I. Joes he has. I had, and so I would practice scenarios. If a player looked like he was really fast, I would have a G.I. Joe. I'd have him here, and then this guy would be the quarterback, and I'd have him throw it to him, and this guy would. And that, for me, it was acting out football.
Plays.
I was diagramming football plays with G.I. Joes, but my mind was being creative. I was expanding myself, and even to this day, I'm just so thankful I had that, and I think it's a strength of mine. I'm able to be resourceful. My mind can think of cool things.
That's exactly a real quick point that I should have touched on that I think is important to know. The biggest reason I started this was because I wanted, if you walk in my store, it's bright neon colors. The cases are bright, matching white cases. And it's all toys from the 50s to literally now, but 90% of it's vintage because I wanted to unlock a memory, unlock something. We were all told at 12 to move on and with your bicycle and play soccer, and and then at 16 you're supposed to get rid of your bicycle and get your car, and then you're supposed to go to college. You all have to do these regimented things, right? Nobody really grows up. Nope. We get older,
right?
But that physical toy unlocks the memory. I see it every day. It's not like these. It's not a lot of collectors that come in my store. They spend money, of course.
Right.
But a lot of it blows my mind how many times it's just a random guy walks in the door. I've literally had it happen. And he'll go, oh my God, this Duran Duran song was on the radio in 1984 on Christmas morning when I opened that Millennium Falcon. I'm buying it for my office.
That's awesome.
So it literally unlocks that. So that's what it's about to me.
Yeah.
That's all. What kind of toys do you have here, by the way?
So I have Withered Bonnie from Five Nights at Freddy's.
Let's go.
I have a cosplay of his head for now. Gonna make his body. But FNAF, I thought I always was gonna be the weird kid. And I always thought I would get bullied or just everything. Because I grew up on Five Nights at Freddy's. I loved it. It was such a passion. And kids back then, oh, that's weird. That's lame. You're not cool. You're a weird kid. And then now I see so many people going to the movies or playing the games, and it's heals that inner child of mine.
Mm.
Because I was
love
like,
that.
So
people
powerful.
are actually loving this
Yeah.
now and
So
not
powerful.
getting bullied.
We have a whole glass case of
powerful.
it that her and I
Oh, yeah.
collect at
Yeah.
the store, and it's the only glass cases is not for sale.
Yep.
And it's just
And
like
then,
a
of course,
hard little.
Yeah.
Every day we
price.
walk in,
Yes.
it's our happy space.
Yes.
Right? It's just
There's something therapeutic too about just like going in your store and seeing everything. It's a very therapeutic thing. It takes you
Yep.
back to sort of that like you said that inner child or that 6-year-old self, and it's that whole group thing you were talking about where you get like 13 and you're like, oh, you have to dress a certain way, you can't do this, you can't do that, but in reality, like no one sets the rules. No one's setting the rules in any of this.
and you can relate it to what
Yeah,
we do.
yeah, exactly.
It's literally
100%.
it's the
100%.
every time I walk into Light Tree, I don't give
Yeah,
just
yeah, you can say it.
I will walk up there. I
Yeah.
will be pulling up like, oh, it's gonna be hot as fucking.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
But dude, I don't care.
Yeah.
because it's gonna be the shit.
yeah,
Yep.
And that's literally what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right when you walk in the door, you're like, yay! And I'm
Yeah.
just sitting there, yay, man,
Yeah.
Yep.
go so well.
yeah.
So I was like the bad guy, and I'm always like, yeah, I love
Yep.
you, the
Yeah.
bad guy. You know, it's so funny. Like,
Right.
there's just something about it. You know, like Bonesaw. It's like, get him, Martinez. You know, it's just so
Right.
funny. I love it.
Right.
It's so stupid.
Right.
And Dan the Man, who's this, oh my God, dude, he's just the most arrogant alpha male. His character is hilarious. You
Yes.
can't help but laugh at these dudes.
Yes, yes.
You're like, oh my God, like
Yes.
comedy. So, and then this guy comes out with a different colored feather boa and, you know, all
Yes.
the time. And just
Yes, I
wrecks
like
All
the
the
house.
feathers.
Charisma's king.
Yes, charisma's king. And I always say like Donald Trump took like wrestling all the way to the White House.
Yeah.
Like legitimately, he took wrestling like the same like when I was like 8 years old watching like Randy Savage or somebody, and it's like or The Rock go out there. It's like that's Donald Trump like in a nutshell, and he took it all the way to the White House.
Yeah.
So if you ever
It's hilarious. It's so true.
thank you, sir.
Oh, thank you, brother.
Is there anything anything you guys want to say? Anything you want to share? Anything you? I'm sure you guys can be on any podcast you want. but-
Never grow up. Always have that inner child. Even if you work business class
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, always have that inner child. I always have a figure with me.
Amen. I
Well,
love it.
thank you for this. This was actually just really fun.
Yeah,
and
100%.
Yeah.
thank you for watching the Saving Humanity podcast. Go see these guys. Go to Platinum Toys and then the DC Wrestling
Devotion Championship Wrestling.
Devotion Championship Wrestling. Platinum Toys, Devotion Championship Wrestling, Saturday, December 13th. Let me see. Platinum Toys, DC Wrestling, the 13th of December. It's going to be awesome. And
It's
Peace.
gonna be epic. It's gonna be live on a Saturday.
Let's go.
peace. Thank you. Good.
All right.
That's awesome. We're done. We're good. And I'll give it,
Yeah.
yes.
That was good.